Hello, it's another Vlogmas day. I started a bit late today. It's around 3 o'clock. It's very nearly school run time. And that's because I had other errands to run and I forgot to take my camera along with me. But never mind, better late than never. So I'm about to start making dinner, which is a very simple soup using some chicken carcasses left over from the Sunday roast that we had on Monday. It's a chicken that keeps on giving. I try and get at least another 2 meals out of a Sunday roast dinner, and so this is working out quite well. So we're going to be making that soup and we're going to be having it with some sourdough. But I'm also really chuffed with myself because I finally finished the process of tidying up my cupboards, which is something that has only ever happened once in 6 years. So I'm going to show you my cupboards because I am so very proud of them. So oh, hang on, need to get the lights on. It's raining outside, so hasn't been quite as pleasant. Right, so the first one is this one here, the tea cupboard, tea and supplements. So all the teas are over to one side, the coffee, and there's sugar, and there's xylitol, and there's the drinking chocolate over there, and then the bottom layer, it's my supplements. And I've used these shelf stacker things from IKEA, and these are brilliant. I love these because, as you can see, it's given me more storage space and a better ability to be able to compartmentalize. So I'm very pleased. It's literally gleaming, literally just shining. And then the other thing that I did was the supplements that are in pouches like this. I put these cute little pegs on there just so that they can always stay nice and neat. So that's everything in here. And I love it. I love it. And there's my collagen over here. Okay. Oh, and then the top section, that's where we keep the eggs over there. And I've got some erythritol, which I use for sugar-free baking, which I'm going to be doing a lot of. And then the next cupboard is the baking cupboard. So again, I've used the shelf stacker thing, really brilliant for just adding extra cupboard space. And I just have everything in some little caddies. So like this is Jello, and this is a simple takeaway box, or you can use some of those things that they sell in IKEA. And I've got a caddy of all the baking chocolate. And oh, this is my favorite. The girls really love this. Chocolate chips. This is an old jam jar. I love these jam jars. So if you buy this French jam called Bon Mama, you can actually get these really wonderful wide mouth jars for storage. And they've got the cute gingham lids. So I have that, and then the white chocolate chips, because my husband doesn't like chocolate, so we use white chocolate whenever we're making anything for him. But that's what we have. Everything is nice and neat, and everything is within reach, and everything is visible. And then over at the top, that's where all the flowers are. So the plain flower and the self-raising flower. And then right at the back, I've got some rye flowers. I am considering putting in some labels, but I'm wondering if that will be a little bit too much, like having labels about what goes where. We'll have to see. Okay. And then this is the spices and cooking cupboard. And this one is particularly located here because my cooking station is over here. So it's like I'm cooking and I need to grab the cinnamon. I can just go onto the rotating spice caddy for the cinnamon. And I love this. I've had this now for, I think, nearly 10 years. And it's still going strong. One of the best kitchen gadget investments ever. I just have everything that I need on this, and I just keep topping up. So when I bought it, it came with the bottles, and I just clean them out, and then I keep topping things up in them. So yeah, that's pretty good. And the other thing that I've got in here Can you see it? It's like this stepping stacker thing, which gives layers to organizing your stuff so that things are more visible. So I've got chili powder in here, and then I've got the mild curry powder over there, but you can see it. The salt is right at the front because I use the salt a lot, obviously. And then the other cool thing, hang on, see if I can get this to turn. Awesome. So the other cool thing is I've got this Lazy Susan, and this is where all the sauces go. So I've got the Tabasco sauce that I bought recently. This is hoisin, not teriyaki sauce. And we've got Henderson's. We've got some rice wine vinegar over there. Worcestershire sauce. Doesn't love that. And balsamic vinegar. And this can take a decent amount of weight. So you can see. There we go. And then over at the back here in a little caddy, I've got the stock cubes. All sorts of stock cubes. So the key things in here that I really love, this stepped stacker thing, which means that everything is visible, and the rotating carousel, which means that everything is visible again, and this one for the spices, which means that everything is visible. And then over here is the spices that I buy in bulk that need, so those are the packets that I then decant into here when I run out of these. So I buy a lot of my spices from, like, we have an Asian supermarket which sells spice in packets like so. And then I'll just open that and decant and put it right back. So that's my cupboards done. So yeah, I'm a very, very happy bunny about the kitchen cupboards. I've been working on cleaning everything up before Christmas because we're going to be hosting a lot of people this Christmas. And I just wanted to make sure that I got these things out of the way and that everything was just neat and tidy. And I'm very, very chuffed with myself. I've also done all the down, the cupboards that are lower down as well. But it's nothing very interesting. It's mostly the kids' lunch things that are in here. And then here is the tinned goods. And so it's the tinned goods and the cereals over here. But it's all tidy and visible. So yeah, I'm gonna get started on cooking now. So for the chicken soup, I've got a lovely sweet potato. I'm going to peel and dice it. I have a butternut squash. I'm going to peel and dice it as well. I've got some carrots. I'm going to peel and make little discs with them. So just peel and slice them. I've got some mushrooms and I'm just going to slice these mushrooms. I'm supposed to have onion, but I can't be asked to go out in the rain to pick the onions that we have in our onion store. So I'm just going to use onion powder for the recipe. And then I'm also going to throw in some vermicelli rice noodles just to chunk it out a bit. And I'll be using the leftover chicken. That's a very simple thing. I'm just going to fry up the mushrooms and saute the carrots, and then I'll put that in with a chicken stock cube, and I'll let that cook in the instant pot, and then I'll add some frozen spinach just for some added extra color, and we're having it with some sourdough baguettes. And that's what we'll be doing. I'm hoping that I can finish getting the soup ready in enough time so that I can get started on the fruit cake. I was supposed to do the fruit cake yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to do that. So today is the day we're getting the fruit cake done. Look what I found in the fridge. I found an old leek. I cut it down here and it's obviously been trying to grow, but I'm going to use this, and I've also got some garlic. I think that one of the nice things about making soup is you really can use bits and bobs that you find lying around in the fridge, and it can just make a really nice, nutritious meal, particularly for winter. I love soups in winter. There is nothing more heartier on a cold winter's day than sitting down to a nice warm bowl of soup with some cheese that's gooey and melting on the top. And you've got a nice piece of crusty fresh bread that you can tear off and dip into the soup. There's just something intrinsically satisfying about that. So I love making soups, particularly with the instant pot. It makes everything so much easier and so much faster. So the garlic is getting ready now. I'm just peeling the garlic, and I will be using my garlic squisher. It's one of my favorite kitchen tools is this. So I've got the garlic ready, and I'll just have it sat in there. Right. Now my vegetables are ready. I'm going to get onto the chicken. Oh, mustn't forget the stock cubes. I need chicken stock cubes. That's it. So this is the sweet potatoes, butternut squash, carrots, mushrooms, leeks, and garlic. All good to go. And here's the chicken carcass from the Sunday roast. This is the one that I'm going to use. So I'm going to put this into the instant pot. Okay. It's just going to go in there. Boiling water. And I'm adding a stock cube to it. And I'm going to let this go for 6 minutes on high pressure. And whilst this is going, I'm going to prep the vegetables. I've added the mushrooms to the leeks. And this is a cast iron skillet, so I'm just letting it fry down. And I'll be adding the garlic into this so that the mushrooms can carry the garlic flavor and that umami flavor. Okay, so this is the leeks and the mushrooms with the garlic, and they've just been fried on very high heat with very minimal oil in the skillet, and this smells so divine. This, I could just put this on pasta with a glug of olive oil, a crack of pepper, and it would be chef's kiss delicious. The smell is enticing, it's rich, it's umami, it's making me I'm salivating, friends. Oh, this is going to be such a good soup. Pouring the tea for us.
That is not down yet, but I definitely need more. Is this for you?
Yeah, that's for me.
Peppermint.
Peppermint tea, yes please. It's lovely and fragrant.
Yeah. Oh, I'll get some little plants.
Oh, yes please. I'm sorry, I forgot those. Okay, next up, fruit cake. Making the fruit cake. The next thing that I'm going to be baking today is the fruit cake. So the fruits have been soaking in the Earl Grey tea for a couple of days now, so they should be doing quite well. So this is a boiled cake mixture. So I'm starting off by putting my ingredients, the butter, the sugar, and the fruit is going to go in here. And then we're going to simmer it for about half an hour and then leave it to cool down, and then we'll add in the eggs and the flour. So it's very simple, very easy to make. I have forgotten to buy some glacé cherries, so I'm only using the dried fruit mix without the glacé cherries, but it will still be a lovely one. So let's get started. So the main ingredients so far, we have 175 grams of butter and 200 grams of light brown sugar. I've got a mix of light and dark brown sugar because that's what I had in the kitchen cupboard. And then we have about 600 grams of dried mixed fruit in here. And we're going to add some lemon juice, and we're just going to put that onto the hob to boil. Recipe requires orange juice, but I don't have any orange juice, so I'm just going to use these easy peelers to get the orange juice. Just have to watch out for the pips when I do it this way, but it's like really squish it out. It's not quite orange, but it's close enough. Separately, how satisfying is this? This is such a satisfying thing to do. Now we're going to get all of this squidgy gooiness to just mix. And so when you soak the dried fruit for several days, it gets to be really nice and juicy, not very dry. And that just makes for a really lovely cake. Okay. This has been simmering now for about 15 minutes. So I'm just gonna take it off the heat and leave it to cool. Meantime, I've prepared 200 grams of plain flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of ground mixed spice, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and just a tiny pinch of salt. And then I also have 85 grams of ground almonds over here. So I'm just preparing these, and these will go into the mixture along with 3 eggs once that's cooled down. The instant pot is done now. I let it do a natural release, and it did it after 28 minutes. But here we go. Look at our chicken couscous. It doesn't look very pretty right now, but this is going to taste so good. I just use this thing to just mash things around so that I can get the meat to separate from the bone. And then I'll scoop out the bones. Gets to a point where I can scoop out the bones. So some bones will still remain, but that's okay. That's the nature of using leftovers to make your meals. It's not going to cause anyone any significant harm to realize that there's a chicken bone. All you do is suck it dry and then throw it out. I've removed as much of the bones as I can out of here, and it's stirring quite nicely. So the first thing that's going to go back in is the mushroom leek and garlic mix. So I'm just gonna pop that in there. That's going to be really delicious. The carrots, the sweet potato, butternut squash, yep. And then to that, I'm going to do some parsley. A nice shower of parsley. And then a proper drizzle of thyme. I think thyme goes so well with chicken. It's one of my favorite herbs to go with chicken. And I'm just gonna mix that in. And I'm going to add some more stock, about 500 mils more stock to this. And then I'll let it go for 20 minutes under pressure to get those vegetables to be nice and soft. And then we'll add some spinach at the end of it, some frozen spinach, and that will just add a bit of green. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, that smells so good. So good. Look at all those veggie goodness. Okay, let's give this a lovely stir. And oh, I cannot wait. Oh, don't stim up my camera. May have gone a little bit too much on the thyme and parsley, but that's okay. Yeah, actually, I don't think I'm going to do the spinach. There's a lot of green from the thyme and the parsley. Right. Okay. So last thing to go in is the vermicelli, which, did you know this means little worms in Italian? Imagine that. I want to eat little worms. So I'm just going to break it into smaller pieces like this, and then I'll put it in. Keep it warm for about 20 minutes or so whilst I get the bread ready, and then we'll be good to go. So here they are, the little worms. The vermicelli goes in just like that, and stir it in. And just over the next 20 minutes or so, it's on the keep warm function on the Instant Pot, and that's going to cook the vermicelli. Yeah, so I've decided I'm not going to add in the spinach because I went overboard with the parsley and the thyme. So it's gonna be okay. It'll be fine. It will be so tasty. In the meantime, my boys just got back from school and it's raining so hard outside. Everything is soaking wet. I went to pick them up and just them walking from the bus to the car, everything has just gotten soaking wet. So I have to go put this in the dryer. But let's have a look at what we have here. So we have the flour, baking powder, mixed spice and cinnamon with a pinch of salt, ground almonds, and the 3 eggs ready to go into the cooled down, lovely fruit sludge. And at this point, I'm going to take out the Earl Grey tea bag. There we go. Let's get that out. Show the other 2 of them. So it's infused with as much of the Earl Grey flavor as we could get it. So it's cooled down nicely now. The butter and the sugar have melted together and everything is gorgeous and just really gooey. And the first thing to go in is going to be the almonds, the ground almonds. So these are optional. If you don't want to use this, you can use breadcrumbs instead. Fresh breadcrumbs, they'll do a similar sort of job. And just mix them in, and then the next thing is going to be the eggs. So this is why you have to cool it down, because if you don't cool it down, then those eggs are going to become poached eggs, which you don't want in your fruit cake. Just gonna mix it, and it makes these very satisfying slurpy slurpy noises. Oh, what's gone? Oh, that's the oven. So I've got the oven preheating to 160 degrees Celsius, fan assisted. All right, there we go. And now we add in the flour, and just gonna mix everything in. And if you want it to be a warmer tasting cake, you can add ground cloves, and that will give it a much warmer flavor if that's what you like. But I tend to prefer just the mixed spice and the cinnamon. And sometimes if I'm feeling a little bit fancy, I'll do some nutmeg, but fresh nutmeg that I grate on a grater. But I'm not feeling very fancy today. Today I just want bread and soup, and I'm a happy lady. Right, so this is what we have. Lovely gooey fruit cake, and I'm just going to pop it into the tin and it will go into the oven. So as I'm preparing the cake tin, I always dither over whether I want to do a square or a circle cake. I love both equally. I have a very nice square cake tin, which is an Emma Bridgewater one with roses on it and it's flowers and it's all pink. But I also have a holly and ivy round cake tin that I really like. So I think I'm just going to go with eeny, miny, more this time, because my decision making ability is very low at the moment. So we'll go eeny, miny, miny, more. Circulate is it's one thing. So I have some greaseproof paper over here. I like to double up on the greaseproof paper because I find that it keeps the cake from hardening off too much around the edges. So I just double up on that and cook it on low temperature. There's absolutely nothing scientific or precise about this. I just bung it in and then I smash it in. Right. Okay. Let's get that gooey goodness in there. I think winter is the perfect time for these lovely, thick, rich, dense sort of cakes. And a few years ago, I discovered the gourmet delight of having fruit cake with a slice of Wensleydale cheese. And oh my days, I thought, how come I never knew about this before? So one of the things that I'm getting this Christmas is a nice block of Wensleydale, and I'm hoping to introduce that particular tradition to the family that's going to be spending time with us at Christmas. So, knock, knock, knock. Knock the air out. And this is ready to go. Oh, 45 minutes. Boom. With the cake in the oven, the vermicelli, the little worms, nicely cooking with the soup, I'm just going to clean up, which is something that I have become a convert to. I clean up as I go, and I find that that keeps everything under control and a bit less stressful. So each time I do something, I'll stop and either bob it into the sink where I'll hand wash if it needs hand washing, or it goes in straight into the dishwasher. And little habits like that have just kept my head from going mental and crazy. And at least in this way, I can make sure that there's always some counter space for doing certain things that may need to be done. For dessert, I got these leftover cakes that were being chucked out because they were best before 2 days ago. So I got them, but they're too sweet. Like most store-bought cakes, they're just way too sugary. So I'm going to do a quick dessert that's going to bring down the sugariness of them by adding custard. So I'm going to cut them up, arrange them in a tray, make some custard, pour the custard over it, and then put it in the oven for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. And that will be something to have that just takes the sugariness down, and we add in a bit of milk, and it's a win. Look at how much sugar. When I make a lemon drizzle cake at home, I would never have this is pure sugar. So I didn't want to see it thrown out because I don't like food waste, and I thought, well, I could use them. So first thing is obviously to remove this extra sugar here, which, you know, I just don't want my kids to be eating unnecessary extra sugar. They are a very cute size though. They're quite cute, the size. They just about fit onto my hand. But yeah, so let's just get that sugar off. It's unnecessary to have this much sugar on there. Okay. You know what? I think I'm just gonna cut off the top a little bit because that's also got some sugar. Oh gosh, yeah. It's like this entire section is all crystally sugar. So I'm just gonna cut that off. And so the idea is the custard that I'm going to make is going to cut the sugar. It won't be a sweet custard, and hopefully it will make this cake go for longer. Well, the dessert rather, not necessarily the cake itself. Yeah. So there we go. That's the worst of the offensive sugar taken off. Yeah. I'm just gonna make that. Okay. There we go. So I'm just gonna cut it. Just like that. Just like in chunks. I mean, my kids are either gonna love this or they're gonna hate this, but we'll just have to see. So that's that. And I'm going to add some blueberries, some frozen blueberries. And I'm just gonna add those. The tartness of the blueberries will also help to cut the sugar down, so it's like a lemon and blueberry custardy dessert. You open it. Okay. So these are blueberries that I froze from fresh when I found them at a bargain at the market. For the custard, I'm just going to use the bird's eye custard powder to make some custard in the microwave. For the custard, just to reduce some of the sugar content because of the store-bought cake that I'm using. I'm drying the school blazers. The poor ones, they got soaking wet. So I have them drying by the fire along with soaking shoes. But that's what a fire is good for. The tree is looking really lovely today, especially on a day like this. Do that. Now it's going to go into the oven for, I reckon, about 20 minutes or so. What I'm going to do actually as well, I'm just going to poke it so that that custard can saturate some of the cake. Right. Really. Okay, there we go. Baked custard, lemon, and blueberry. See how that tastes. The sourdough baguettes are ready. I'm just going to slice these up, grate up some cheese, and then we'll be good to go. That's some good looking soup right there. Let's see if we can plate it up. Really lovely soup is that. Have it with some bread. The fruit cake is done. Nice and soft. It's even soft around the edges as well. It smells so good. So good. There we go. And that's the lemon drizzle blueberry custardy cake thingamajig. So I've tried this and it's lovely. The sugaryness has been completely toned down because I only used a teaspoon of the xylitol in the custard. So the custard is just got a hint, just a tiny hint of sweetness. And then the fresh blueberries, the frozen blueberries, they add a really lovely tartness when you come across them. Really lovely. Wonderful way of taking something that's over sugared. I'm just plating up because everybody is loving this. Yeah?
They do.
Yeah? I'll show you how much is left now.
Very much.
No, you can't get seconds until everybody else is at first, darling.
Excuse me, Ma.
But yeah, that's good. No, just a little bit in a box as well. get in more?
I think I'll have just a small piece.
Okay, we have to save some for Dada.